Every week, billions of people push a shopping cart through a grocery store without thinking twice about it. The cart feels so obvious, so inevitable, that it is hard to imagine the modern supermarket without one. But when Sylvan Goldman introduced his wheeled basket carriage to Oklahoma City shoppers in 1937, they looked at it and walked away. That is the part the story usually skips, not the invention, the refusal. Today, the shopping cart reads as pure convenience. Roll it in, fill it up, wheel it to the register. The design is so embedded in how we move through retail space that architects plan entire store layouts around it. Aisle widths, floor surfaces, checkout lane geometry. All of it assumes the cart is already there, already in your hands. The device seems to have arrived fully formed, as if the supermarket and the cart were born together. They were not. To understand what Goldman actually built, you have to stand in the grocery retail world of the mid-1930s. Self-service stores were still a relatively new arrangement. Before that model took hold, a customer would hand a list to a clerk, and the clerk would gather everything. The self-service format changed the transaction. Now the customer moved through the store, picked items directly from shelves, and carried them to the register, which meant the customer needed something to carry them in. The solution most stores offered was a handheld wire basket. Simple, cheap, effective up to a point. But a basket has a hard limit. When it gets heavy, your arm gets tired. When your arm gets tired, you stop picking things up. Goldman, who operated grocery stores in Oklahoma City, understood this as a business problem with a physical cause. The basket was not just an inconvenience, it was a ceiling on how much any one customer could buy in a single visit. Goldman's documented response was a folding wheeled frame designed to hold two wire baskets stacked on separate shelves. The design transferred the weight from the customer's arm to the floor. According to the Smithsonian National Museum of American History, which holds the object in its collections, the device was a combination basket and carriage intended to let customers purchase more groceries. Goldman filed for a patent on March 14, 1938. The patent was approved on April 9, 1940. The prototype, though, appeared in his Oklahoma City store in 1937, before the paperwork was complete. Here is where the story turns strange. Goldman had solved a real problem with a workable device. The store introduced it, and customers, by most accounts, did not want it. The Smithsonian's reporting on Goldman's adoption story describes initial resistance and the demonstrations Goldman used to normalize the cart. The specifics of that resistance are worth sitting with because they reveal something true about how new tools actually enter the world. The cart was unfamiliar. It had no cultural script attached to it. Shoppers did not know what it meant to push one, and some apparently did not want to look as though they needed help carrying their groceries. The device solved a problem people had not yet agreed they had. That is a different kind of obstacle than a design flaw. You cannot fix social hesitation by adjusting the mechanism. Goldman's response, according to Smithsonian reporting, was to stage demonstrations inside the store, to make the cart visible in use, to show other shoppers that using one was normal. This is a detail worth pausing on. The invention was not enough. The behavior had to be modeled before it could be adopted. Goldman was not just an inventor in this moment, he was managing the gap between a working device and a changed habit. Two entirely different problems, and only one of them had a patent application attached to it. That gap eventually closed. The folding basket carriage moved from novelty to fixture, and the self-service grocery store and the cart grew together as a system. The two-shelf folding frame Goldman patented was not the last word in cart design. Later iterations dropped the folding mechanism, changed the basket configuration, added child seats, standardized the nested stacking that makes it possible to store hundreds of carts in a compact row outside a store entrance. Each of those changes was a response to a new operational problem: storage space, fleet size, the logistics of returning carts from a parking lot. The cart kept being redesigned because the stores themselves kept scaling. The invention moved, and the institution moved with it. What survived from Goldman's original insight was the core premise: move the weight off the customer's body and onto a wheeled frame, and the customer will buy more. Every version of the cart since 1937 has been a variation on that same mechanical argument. The form changed. The logic did not. The Smithsonian connects Goldman's cart directly to the growth of self-service grocery retail, and that connection is worth taking seriously. The cart did not simply accompany the supermarket's expansion, it enabled it. A store that relies on customers carrying their own baskets is constrained by how much a person can lift and how long they can hold it. A store built around wheeled carts can be larger, stock more variety, and expect customers to spend more time inside. The physical design of a single rolling frame quietly restructured the scale of what a grocery store could be. The building got bigger because the cart made it possible to fill a bigger building with paying customers. Consider what that means in practice. The broad parking lots surrounding large grocery stores, the extended aisle runs, the sheer volume of product variety on offer. None of that is incidental to the cart. It is downstream of it. Goldman's folding frame set a new expectation for how long a shopping trip could last and how much it could yield. Store designers and retailers adapted to that expectation, and each adaptation pulled the next one forward. The cart was not a response to the large supermarket. In important ways, it was a condition for it. There is something clarifying about tracing a device back to its documented origin. Goldman filed his patent because he had built something specific to solve a specific problem in a specific kind of store at a specific moment in retail history. The need was real, the mechanism was direct, and the resistance was social rather than technical. That combination, a working solution meeting a reluctant public, is more common in the history of useful things than we usually admit. Most tools that feel inevitable today had a moment when they were unnecessary, embarrassing, or simply strange. The shopping cart does not feel like a designed object now. It feels like furniture, or like weather, just part of the environment you move through. That invisibility is actually a measure of how completely it succeeded. When a design stops being noticed, it has usually finished its deepest work. The wire baskets Goldman stacked on a folding frame in 1937 are still doing their original job. Every time you reach the end of an aisle and decide to keep going because your cart still has room, you are inside the logic he built. The store around you was designed with that decision in mind. Goldman's invention did not just change how people shopped. It changed how much space a grocery store needed, how a parking lot had to be arranged, and how many items a manufacturer could expect to move in a single customer visit. The cart that feels like background is actually the architecture. And the shopper in 1937 who walked past it without picking it up, who looked at a wheeled frame with two wire shelves and saw something unnecessary, was not wrong about the present. They were just standing at the edge of a different future, one that Goldman had already drawn up and filed with the patent office.